even tile players are falling for this trap because it's like it's nearly impossible for your opponent to calculate all these variations if they aren't ready, if they aren't prepared. So you start off with the move pawn d4, your opponent responds pawn d5. Now you play pawn e4, where sacrificing the pawn, your opponent captures it, you play knight to c3, attacking the pawn, aiming to get it back. Therefore black goes knight f6 to defend the pawn, and now we kind of acknowledge that we can't get our pawn back, and we just play pawn f3. After your opponent captures it, you now recapture it with a queen, which is a nice move, by the way. It potentially prepares you to castle queenside in some variations, but your opponent may notice that you keep playing dumb moves and you keep losing pawns, because black can safely capture this pawn on d4, getting the second pawn for nothing. Then, anyway, you play bishop e3, at least you're developing a bishop with a tempo, and what's nice here in that is that although you sacrifice a couple pawns, you're actually ahead in development and you're having quite significant compensation here. Your opponent here will think for some time, and one of the moves that they commonly play is the move queen b4. Looks very advantageous. Not only black retreated, but they also counterattack this pawn on b2, which, from there it's going to attack the rook, attack the knight, and if you castle queenside, then it looks like it loses to another move, bishop to g4, which screws the queen and the rook. And it looks like black is just going to capture something with every move that they play, and you're going to lose all of the pieces that you have. But instead, here comes the refutation. It's the move which, as I said earlier, is extremely hard for black to foresee, so we can't really blame black for not seeing it. It's the move knight to b5, so quite a high level stuff. It's a sacrifice of the queen, and strangely enough, this move creates a threat of checkmate in one, knight takes c7. For that reason, black can't capture your queen, because knight takes c7 is really a checkmate. Notice that your rook cuts black's king off, so that's really a checkmate. Let's take this move back, and then what is black gonna do instead? It's not easy for black to defend this pawn, because also notice that this knight on b5 is doing a good job interfering with the black's queen so that he can't defend this pawn on b7 anymore. Therefore, besides knight takes c7, you've got the second powerful threat, which is queen takes b7, and if you can execute that move, that's gonna lead to a complete devastation for black, because from there, your queen is gonna attack the rook, then attack the knight, in some variations may be able to jump to c8, so that's gonna win anyway. And for that reason, some of your opponents will decide to give up their queen. Here, queen takes b5, and indeed that prevents an immediate checkmate, but the goal was not to checkmate an opponent's king, but just to win a queen and to win a game later on, so the goal is achieved. Now you're getting a winning material advantage.